Construction company Murray & Roberts has reported a diluted headline loss per share of 210 cents. That's for the first half of 2012's financial year. This compares to a loss of 177 cents a share a year ago. Revenue increased by 11% to 16.7 billion rand. The group's order book increased to 57 billion rand. That's from 55.4 billion a year ago. Well, a reduced loss on Murray & Roberts, so moving in the right direction. But going through these results, can you find any positive news flow other than the order book increased from 55.4 billion to 57 billion?
And I think if this crisis taught us anything, deeply skeptical about order books. Not that they won't happen, but at what margins will they happen? And Murray & Roberts does say at their target of 5 to 7.5. I found something that's positive. They're in the Middle East. They're really struggling. They're shifting focus towards Qatar for the 2022 World Cup, and maybe they can say we did a World Cup in South Africa. 10 years' time, I think they might be a little bit earlier. I mean, 10 years before our World Cup, we weren't anywhere near building anything. They might be a little bit there. But yeah, the contrarian in me likes construction. I have construction exposure. But in the space, Murray & Roberts are the one who there's just a litany of problems that worry me, and some of them still to happen.
Is there still a bankruptcy risk on Murray & Roberts?
I don't think so. They have restructured their debt. Some of it's still at relatively short-term notice and can be called. They need to do their rights offer. They're talking a 2 billion rights offer. They issued a SENS this afternoon. That's been approved by shareholders. Now they've got to go and tell us what the numbers will be, at what price will it be done, and that would probably remove the bankruptcy risk completely. But there's other issues out there. For example, the last bit of the Gautrain from Rosebank to Park Station in the city, that's their problem. It still isn't up and running, and Gautrain's going to turn around and say it's going to cost you some money. There's some hits there. They've got other issues in that space where they're arguing things. Competition Commission's still out there. Now, for a lot of the other players, Competition Commission is still pending, but going to be relatively small. For Murray & Roberts, Competition Commission could be a telecom size fine, where it's an absolutely terrifyingly massive number. So there's so many unknowns out there that the 2 billion rights offer helps, depending how bad those unknowns are.
Moxima, technically, Murray & Roberts, are we looking better on your front?
It's looking better because although it does need to gain a lot of upside to reclaim that outperformance, its previous outperformance, it's doing good because it's broken out of that bear channel, and we're seeing a lot of headway. Only concern is that the RSI is a bit overbought, which will then, we should anticipate a near-term pullback. But if it does pull back, it's important that this bull trend on the price chart as well as the RSI is maintained. Because if it is, then we foresee upside to 3150 level. And above 3150, there could then be a domino effect of more upside to its previous highs. So the RSI is a bit of a concern, but at this point, there seems to be a lot of buying interest, because if you look at the intraday trading ranges, it's pretty high on the upside. So it looks like it's becoming attractive, but there is still more upside that it needs to regain to go back to those previous highs.
I can't believe you aren't brave enough. You've just stated you like construction. This stock has been under pressure. As you say, you've managed to find some positive points in their verbiage today. It's just a no-go area for you, really.
There's just, in part, I've got my construction exposure, and I've gone for the smaller guys in the space. I'm liking Avenge. Stephanie is my significant holding in the space. I like Afrimat. And there are other, Engineering Africa did all right. They're in the mining space. They're doing all right there. It's just those risks on the horizon. And, could the Competition Commission really turn around and hurt them? Absolutely it could. And you don't mess with Competition Commission. I worry about the Gautrain and the like, as I said. The flip side, of course, is that they had that write-down of 795 million about a year ago, where there were some things in dispute, and they just took it down to zero. And pretty much what ABSA did with their single stock future debacle, and that's quite clever, because if they get anything back from that, it means there's a bit of a positive cash flow coming through. So there's some glimmers of hope there.
And Qatar, as you threw forward to earlier.
And Qatar. I just say, in construction, and I was into the sector a year early, well, who knows, I'm maybe still a year early. I was getting early last year.
Let's hope they start spending that money that they've said they're going to be spending from a government perspective.
I'm offering to help if they need. Within that contrarian play, you're taking that level of risks. You want that underpinning, and you're getting companies. And let's look at Stocks. It's a stock I know well. They've got half of their market cap is made up of cash. They've got no debt. They've got a nice order book. They're moving into the pipe space. They're doing some clever purchases at the bottom of the market. What did we see with both Group 5 and Murray & Roberts? They were doing the purchases at the top and the sales at the bottom. They're doing it the wrong way around, in a sense.
Hot or not?
For me, Murray & Roberts, and it pains me to say it, but for me, not hot.
Moxima?
Well, I'll be the opposite. Pretty hot because it is showing that bullish initiative, and it is coming off its lows. Stocks that come off lows often offer good buying opportunities.
I love it when we don't have consensus on the desk.